So since you're in a family office type of environment, do you have a time frame where you have to have an exit, or are you a long-term investor? What's your horizon on your investments?
We're a long-term investor primarily, but of course there are certain investments where we will exit at the 5-year point or maybe the 7-year point, and we don't do funds. We're always direct to asset. So for us, it's the long game as well as the medium-term game.
Gotcha. And are there any new sectors that you're excited about that you don't have currently in your portfolio that you're looking at?
Not in particular, no.
Okay, so now
we're very, very, as I said, we're a vanilla family office. We get adventurous, but not too adventurous.
And as far as geography, you will invest all over the world?
Yes, we in fact prefer to invest outside of India, unless we are divesting and reinvesting in real estate within India. So those are our in-house projects on pre-owned land parcels and so on and so forth. So except for that one exception, we tend to steer clear of all other sectors as far as investing in India is concerned. But as far as other geographies, we're again, as I said, sector agnostic and location agnostic.
So will you look at emerging market opportunities as well as traditional markets?
So my father's family office was set up in the late 90s purely on an emerging market private equity strategy. So we love our emerging markets. We're a little bit wary of frontier markets, but we have made I would say, maybe I think 15% of our portfolio is in frontier markets, which to us is too much, but we're still happy with it, so we're going to stick with it. But yes, emerging markets is our favorite place to play in.
That's great. So the buzzword now in private equity and family office, of course, is impact investing, ESG. Do you focus on that at all? How does that factor into your investment analysis?
So, there's so many definitions of impact investing. We don't fit into the standard definition of impact investing, but we have made impact investments in India, again focused in the real estate space, but thinking along the lines of communal growth, right? So if we end up divesting out of a land parcel that sits within, say, a rural terrain, where there's a significant need for community upliftment, we will then make that a priority and find a way to have it zoned correctly, working with the government. And once the zoning is done, we then try and obviously develop projects so that there's job placement, more opportunities to make a livelihood. Then we can obviously use our philanthropic foundations to fund local schools, create opportunities for children to be better taken care of medically from an educational perspective, and so on and so forth. So I wouldn't call that impact investing per se, but that is our form of trying to do impact investing
and make a difference.
Make a difference, but we don't do climate sort of impact stuff, at least not yet.
Yeah, and it's so hard to measure really how significant the impact is on some of those bigger projects as well.
So I think the reason I tend to, and I'm going to answer that question because it just ties everything up really nicely. I'm not going to wait for you to ask why I don't do tech and telecom and impact by the standard definition, is because if I don't understand it, I struggle using my phone on a daily basis. So, I mean, seriously, it's a miracle I know how to use WhatsApp. So, the fact that I can't figure out my phone on good days just means that I'm not going to invest in something that is completely beyond my realm of knowledge or understanding. And I think technology scares me in terms of, because I don't understand it. Everything's up in the ether. And so I'm a little bit of a dinosaur from that perspective. And of course, telecommunication, same reason. Impact, not so much that I'm scared of it and I don't understand it, but I have no experience in it. And we very rarely use outsourced advisories or counsel. We tend to keep everything in-house. So it makes it that much harder for us to get into a space that neither I know nor I can outsource in terms of bringing in the foundational knowledge, or in the form of an advisor or even like a big consulting firm. Because I find a lot of the big consulting firms do a bit of a copy-paste job with things, and I don't want the cookie-cutter version of what impact investments I should be looking at. So.
Right, totally makes sense. Although I would assume that a number of your portfolios need to leverage technology to stay relevant and to grow, even if it's not part of their core competency.
Correct, but because it's a portfolio company, and of course no company can run without the technological backbone in various forms, right? Depending on what sector you sit in. But I don't have to deal with that on a daily basis, nor directly. I'm investing in a company that is a non-tech firm, where of course technology is a critical component, but then there is an operational team in place. I just make sure they do their job right.
That seems like a good plan. Well, I don't have any questions, so thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Best of luck with your investments and enjoy the rest of the conference.
Thank you so much. It's been such a pleasure.
Thank you so much.